Hello, everybody. Welcome to the dark future. Welcome to Red Sky City. Cyberpunk Red actual play stream produced by Do Not Peak Entertainment. My name is Joseph, but here in the dark future, we all go by our made-up names, so you can call me Tormented by Gnomes. I'll be your game master during your time here in Red Sky City, and joining me is a fantastic cast of talented role players to bring the people of Red Sky City to life. First up, you may know him as a global icon and national treasure. You may know him from his tenured career as an esports host and caster. You may know him as that guy who has a show with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Not that he ever talks about that on traditional TV.
Never do.
Or from his many other projects and appearances. Please welcome Alex Golden Boy Mendez.
Thank you guys so much. I am super famous.
So humble as well. So humble.
I know, right? Next up, she's a fixture of the esports scene, an icon of the Pokemon community, the hostess with the mostest. She made 30 under 30 and far too legit to rage quit. Please welcome Rachel Seltzer Quirico.
Oh, well, thank you so much for having me. You nailed the last name pronunciation. So
Yes.
cheers to that. Even though I'm not really sure how that goes. But thanks so much. I'm really excited to be here. I'm big fans of all you guys. Alex, a longtime friend of mine. So I'm really looking forward to this game. Thanks for having me.
Excellent. A freelance writer, a caster, a desk analyst, a content creator, certainly not a thrower, but verifiably an egg. Please welcome Josh Sideshow Wilkinson.
I didn't think I'd get the egg thing from you. You're more bald than I am, and you've been balder for longer as well. That's
Takes one to know one.
Yeah.
Worse, so that's it.
There you cut me real deep. I'm playing a bald character in this campaign as well, so just leaning in fully into it.
Excellent. Yep, embrace the meme. Last but not least, he's an esports commentator, an analyst, a streamer, an Instagram fitness icon, the second best Widowmaker in the world, the Brenji himself. Please welcome Brennan Hook.
Yeah, thank you. All very fitting and not exactly taken with any exaggeration whatsoever as well. So yeah, it's a great intro. Thank you.
Excellent. I tried. I came up with those about
Chief
5 minutes before the
Himbo.
show.
You missed
Himbo
that
and
one.
Chief. Okay, hold on. Let me update my
Oh.
notes. Himbo in Chief. Okay, show notes for later. Excellent. So, Cyberpunk Red is the latest edition of the Cyberpunk role-playing game. It was created by Mike Pondsmith in 1988. It was inspired, obviously, by the literature, movies, and music of the cyberpunk genre, which really kind of hit its heyday during the late 80s. You had movies like Blade Runner, so on and so forth, that came out. You had Neuromancer, the novel, all super, super influential. In the upcoming game, Cyberpunk 2077, we sort of see the aesthetic moving closer to the modern era, a modern conception of cyberpunk. But the game and the genre have always owed their roots in terms of aesthetics to the media of the 80s and 90s. So, in our story, our heroes live in Night City, located in what is in our time Morro Bay, California, on the west coast of the no longer United States, in the year 2045. This is where our story begins, and it's, again, the city where the game Cyberpunk 2077 is set as well. But if you've watched any of the game trailers for that coming up with all of its Keanu Reeves glory, you see this huge bustling city with gigantic hollow neon lights all over the place, and that is not the city of our story. 20 years before our story begins, a nuclear device was detonated at the heart of the Arasaka Towers corporate complex. It was at the height of the Fourth Corporate War, a conflict in which the various corporations and megacorps all across the world finally got to just lay into each other, struggling for power. The two big players in that conflict, Arasaka and Militech, ended up using this as a proxy war to fight each other all over the planet. It ended up breaking up the power of the mega corporations that once held an iron grip on most of the world. And the governments, which sort of took a backseat in the earlier cyberpunk era, have finally reasserted themselves. But all this jockeying for power came at the cost of the daily lives of the people of Night City. The bomb that went off wasn't that big, for all intents and purposes. It was more of what you call like a suitcase bomb, but it did the job. It was enough. A lot of Night City was built on fill, where they started to fill in Morro Bay in the Pacific Ocean. And when the bomb went off, not only did it bring down the Arasaka Towers at the heart of the corporate center, spray radioactive waste and fallout throughout the city, create a twisted, glowing maze of debris at the very heart of Night City, it also sent out a small earthquake that liquefied the foundations, letting the bay just rush in. Ever since then, the city has been rebuilding slowly but surely, piece by piece. And it's a lot better than it was, but it is nowhere near the glowing metropolis that we see in the trailers for the game that's going to come out. This is the year 2045. And ever since that bomb went off, and ever since the orbital bombardment of the Fourth Corporate War, every morning and every night, the particles that were sent up into the sky by that conflict paint the sunrises and sunsets a crimson, bloody red. That's why it's come to be known as the Red Sky City, and this is where our heroes live. What do we know about our characters so far? Well, for starters, I happen to know that you all live in the same apartment complex, not quite near the red zone, the very heart of the city, which has still not been reclaimed. The corporations have moved in and the nomad families have started to reestablish contact between the big cities across the world. And over time, they've started to shove all the debris out into the bay to fill it up so they could build new structures. And at the edges of the hot zone, the red zone, new towers are rising. Giant arcologies, these massive buildings that are going to contain everything you need to live. Working quarters, living quarters, parks completely inside. They're starting to rise up. But the red zone is still unclaimed. In the heart of the city, there are still mazes of glowing wreckage and burned out cars and corpses that have never been recovered. And the most hardened criminals and cyber psychos who have lost their humanity entirely from too many implants dwell there. It's a dangerous place, still glowing with radioactivity, and your apartment is within eyeshot of it. It's not that people are shooting each other on your front step, but you can hear the gunshots, all right? That's sort of what we're talking about here.
Yeah, most of LA.
Did I mention I'm from the Bronx?
Not yet, but if somebody's playing that drinking bingo game, they're going to be dead by the end of it.
That's a wrap.
You all live in the same apartment, on the third floor of the same apartment. And you've got a pretty good deal going. The rent isn't too high, and most of the booster gangs and cyber psychos leave you guys alone. There's a deal you have with one of the neighborhood fixers. He gets a share of the rent that you all pay, and in exchange he keeps the local gangs and mobsters and all that off your back. Getting to work, for those of you who have to commute, is always a little bit risky, but otherwise this is a weird little nice deal that you've got going on. The apartment belongs to one Jim Fingers, Sideshow's character.
What?
Yes, I know. I looked at the...
Fix some money.
So here's what happened. I was looking at our characters that you gave me before we started our game, and I was trying to figure out who it would make the most sense to own the building. And unfortunately, that meant giving Josh some sort of power. But don't worry, I'm sure.
Damn it!
I'm sure he's not going to abuse that in any way, shape, or form. So
No, I'm a
that
good
bad guy?
landlord.
So why don't we run through the four of you and give me just the basics, because we don't know everything about your characters yet. And we're actually going to go ahead and start with Rachel. Why don't you tell me a little bit about your character, what you know so far?
Sure. Her name is Natalie Smiff, and she is recently out of school, and she got a pretty sweet job in the mail room and the shipping room of a major corporation, and she's just been slowly working her way up there, following the rules, doing her very best, showing up on time every day, and just leaving it all on the floor, because if you do a good job at work, then that's fine. Then you can make money, and then you can live a happy life, right?
I'm sure that's exactly how that works.
I mean, in theory, but in practice,
I don't know. Alex, why don't you tell us what you have of your character so far? And for those of you in chat, even our players don't know everything about their characters yet, for reasons we're going to talk about in a moment.
Yeah. So Oro, by the way, Make sure everyone has to say it right. Oro.
Oro?
You do Oro, I'm not responding to you.
Every character you have ever played in a tabletop game is called Oro.
Interesting. No connection. Oro is actually he's actually like what you would consider a influencer. What this generation would refer to as a content creator. But
a global icon, a national treasure.
No,
Did you really just make yourself?
No, I didn't make myself. I made actually a closer version of you, Bren. So someone who isn't nearly as famous as I am. But basically, so Oro is well, for one, he's also Hispanic. Had to get that one in there. And he's like considered like an influencer, and he's really popular, or he's creating popularity amongst the current, I guess, intranet, right, that they have in Night City. Kind of like growing a fan base and getting bigger. Plays video games, does like a variety of different things, but that is basically the long and short of it.
I was gonna ask what sort of content he creates. Like, what's his primary fan base? Does he mostly do gaming stuff? Does he do a lot of like IRL, just chatting, mukbang? What sort of, does he?
Yeah, it's like literally anything. Like he's like an all-around creator. He posts about the news. He'll talk about what new entertainment things are coming out, whether that be like games or music or movies. Like he's just like an all-around guy. He really isn't. He's like growing, but he's not the biggest name, obviously. But he has a loyal fan base.
He's chasing the clout.
Chasing the clout. That's it.
Yeah. So every role, they're not classes in Cyberpunk Red, they're roles, and every role has a different special skill solely available to that role. Natalie Smiff is a exec, so a corporate, not an actual executive yet, but maybe one day she'll get there. Oro is technically, it's called a rocker, but really it's applied to any sort of like rebel, non-corporate owned influencer, media personality, etc. And the special ability of the rocker is influence, but I'm pretty sure we're going to reskin it as clout. Like I'm probably going to go in and just rename it clout pretty soon.
I like it.
All right.
I like it.
Sideshow, why don't you tell us what we know so far about Jim Fingers?
Yeah, Jim Fingers is a local fixer who's come up within the nearby scenes because he's got his fingers in many different pies. He knows people, and he knows people who know people, and he's managed to facilitate, small time deals that, scratch his back, he'll scratch yours. And he's set himself up with a nice little place. He's made some money on the side. He doesn't always follow the rules, but he follows them enough to stay under the radar. He's just a bit of a, not a hustler, but he's just out there doing a bit of dodgy dealing here and there in order to make a bit of money for himself.
And just to get out in front of this before, the inevitable occurs, the way that the apartment works right now, it's just barely clearing, so it's paying for itself, but between the bribes you have to pay to the local gang lords and all that stuff, it's the profit margin is slim. We'll say that.
Oh yeah, money's tight. I keep squeezing these guys every month.
Last but not least, Brent, why don't you tell us about Jerax Ashwater? I tactically wait until you try to sip.
I like that Josh has decided to use a rough and ready accent, or like kind of dialect for your character, whereas I have gone for the opposite of that, where I am going for quite a pronounced sort of accent. Jerax Ashwater is a well-educated chap. He went to a very high-up university. You wouldn't have heard of it because I haven't thought of it yet. And he studied medicine there. And basically now he works in the field of medtech, cybernetic implants, and he is a local surgeon, essentially. A local underground surgeon, although he doesn't really like to apply the title underground. Any surgeon is a surgeon. You shouldn't really take away value from it just because you may or may not implant illegal implants into people if they ask and pay you. The legality and the ethics of that up for discussion. But that's why he does his business in the Red City, and
well done, Bren.
On the side of that, yeah, he has an ulterior motive for why he is in this city, because it's not really a place where a chap like him should lie. But yeah, you guys might find that out as we go further into the episodes.
The term that I'm sure Jerax would never apply to himself is Ripper Doc.
Oh no.
That's the terminology for an underground cyber surgeon. All right, so these are our heroes, and they all live on the 3rd floor of this apartment. And again, for being this close to the red zone, it's a decent place. The interiors are a little bit dingy, and even 20 years after the 4th corporate war, government services are never guaranteed. It's possible that the entire building's transformer is illegally tapped into some other building because the power doesn't go here because the power companies are in flux. And the water, sometimes the water pressure is pretty bad. It comes and goes. But overall, the view from the roof is like a postcard. That skyline that you see in our logo right there, that's sort of what you see at night or at the sunrise, sunset if you're sitting on top of the roof. And the roof is where every month Royal hosts a poker game. Royal is one of the other tenants in the apartment. He's a mercenary, a solo. He works for Rex, who's one of the other fixers, one of the bigger fixers in the neighborhood, the one who really has all the go-betweens for the gangs and such. Rex and Jim Fingers, you talk a lot. He's the one that you go through when you need to make a deal with to make sure that the booster gang the Red Chrome Legion doesn't roll up and burn the place down, and that the Yakuza doesn't decide to start posting up on your corner and all that stuff. He's got a lot of contacts, and while you have contacts of your own, his in this particular territory have been invaluable. And Grant works for him, and just by having Grant Royal in the building, it fends off a lot of trouble. The guy's a badass. He's a gun for hire, and Rex makes no secret of the fact that Royal lives here and is heavily, heavily armed. But he's not a bad neighbor. He loves to play cards, and like I said, every month he hosts a community poker night up on the building just at sunset as the sky starts to burn that crimson color and the sun goes down over Morro Bay and the red light streams between the buildings. It's a great view, and all the neighbors come up and everyone brings a little bit of food. All the food in the future is pretty much synthetic. If you're really hard up, you're eating kibble, which is not for dogs, but it's exactly what it sounds like. Otherwise, most food is sort of, artificially lab grown, soy based, pre-pack. There's something of an urban gardening that's sprung up in the wake of the disaster. So it's a lot easier to get fresh lettuce and tomatoes than usual, but they're, little small, organic, hopefully organic. But a lot of you get by. And at these poker games, you play exclusively for tiny little nips, the little liquor bottles, which are, again, all probably synthetically developed. But hey, they still get you messed up. So our story is going to start, our backstory is going to start during one of these poker nights. Everybody's up on the roof. You've got some drinks. The water filter isn't too busted today, so you're able to make fresh punch. Everyone's sitting out there, passing around cards. And things are going fairly well, all things considered. Some of you might be struggling to make rent, but you've probably got it locked down for the next month. So, as we start, and as our heroes are sitting around the table, getting to know each other, I want to know how old everyone's character is. Starting with, we're going to kind of maintain this order. So it's going to be Rachel, Alex, Josh, and Bren. So, Rachel, how old is your character?
Natalie's like 26.
26? All right, cool. And how old is Oro?
29. Simpler years.
Right? Before the dark times, before the boomer. Josh, what are you up to? How old is Jim Fingers?
Jim's been around the block a little bit. He's 34.
All right.
Oh,
And Jerax.
we might be cut from the same cloth because I was going to say 34 as well.
Do you have to change now? Are you 35, 33? Which direction
Let's make it 33.
We are allowed to have been born on the same cycle around the sun.
No. Because I thought 34 was just a unique number in my head. I'm gonna be 33.
Yeah, I know. People who are 34, my God, that's ancient kind of years, isn't it?
I turned 33 this year. Please shut up.
Same here.
87, baby. Let's go. All right.
Generation.
So why don't we cover, because what we're doing here, chat, the Cyberpunk role-playing game has always had this cool system during character creation called the life path. So every character has stats just like most role-playing games. They have skills just like most role-playing games, and we'll go over that as we get deeper into the game. But your background in Cyberpunk is really, really important. What happens to you during your life in the dark future can have a direct impact on your character now. So we're going to go through each of your character's life paths in this adventure today. And I want to get it down that all of you know each other before our adventure began. So I'm going to ask each of you twice during the life path to jump in on somebody else's life event. For example, Natalie is 26, which means that Natalie's going to have 9 events in her backstory. And as we find out what these events were, going through them one by one, anybody who was alive and like sentient at the time can say, oh, I was there, and here's what happened. So we're going to do this chronologically. We're going to start with the oldest members of the team.
Yes.
With the earliest stuff that was going down. All right, so excellent. So, Jim Fingers. Are there any key events you already know happened to your character in your backstory?
No, I am leaving it up to the will of the dice.
Excellent.
Oh my goodness.
Excellent.
I'm leaving it completely open.
Heart of the cards. Let's go.
Yep.
Okay.
Heart of the cards.
First things first. How does Jim Fingers dress? What's his clothes like? What's his hairstyle like? Does he have any tattoos or, affectations?
Hairstyle is an interesting term, Joe, because he is just as bald as the night sky.
Yep. Egg.
It's like, yep, he's an egg, essentially.
Is the night sky bald?
I mean, I was thinking about the moon. The moon is pretty bald. The moon is a hairless.
But that's
dome
the
kind of
sky,
thing.
though. You have to be very specific. I mean,
Yeah.
Okay, right. Okay, all right. I haven't seen any hair in the sky either, unless you're talking about cloud coverage or something. Anyway, he wears these kind of like chunky tank top kind of setups, and this is to show off a little bit these tattoos that he's got around his torso that are schematic drawings of what do you call them? Circuit diagrams, essentially. And then he's got one cybernetic eye because of an accident that he had in the past where he was. A deal went badly, Joe. A deal went badly, but he made the best of it because that's what he does.
We are probably going to find out what that deal was.
Yeah. And so that's it. He's a fairly short, not particularly imposing, bald guy with a cybernetic eye and so these kind of schematic circuit diagram tattoos across his chest and his back.
All right. And we're going to sort of do this round robin style as we go through these characters. So next up, Jerax, tell me what your character's hair, clothes, and other elements of style are like.
Yes. So Jerax is dressed like a bit of a wacky doctor, what you'd imagine a wacky doctor to be dressed in. He's got some combat trousers, if you will, if you call it, some military style trousers, lots of pockets, very useful for holding all things like scalpels, screwdrivers, things that that you would need for his job. He's got some pretty sturdy military boots on as well. And he wears a long doctor's lab coat, where he wears a sort of a black tank top underneath that, and is caduceus. Is that how you pronounce it? Caduceus? Yeah,
so,
caduceus
yes.
staff necklace around his neck as well, as a symbol of his kind of progression and his field of what he studies and participates in. And Longish hair, kind of like what my quarantine mop is like, but it's styled better, obviously, because I've just gotten out of the shower and didn't really do anything with it.
He's also allowed to go out and get it cut, unlike us.
That's
so.
true. Yeah, he's allowed to go out and get it cut, but similar length hair, like medium length hair. And he wears these very cool looking sunglasses that are like, I don't know how to describe them, just like these miniature style of sunglasses, the like nice, I don't know.
Circular lenses, right?
Yeah, small circular lenses that he wears as well. And he has his sleeves rolled up. So you can see two very high, well, not high end, but two cybernetic arms that he has applied on both of his arms, all the way up. And that's what you really get when you look at Jerax Ashwater.
And those were expensive. Those you make good money. Like you're a very talented. Let's not call you a ripper doc. You make good money, but those cyber arms were not cheap. Perhaps today we will find out how you got them. Perhaps we won't. Oro, what's your character look like, dress like?
So, because he lives the life of an influencer and he's trying to show people that he is, like famous, if you will. He actually dresses, like an urban kind of just like a not too flashy, but just likes to look good. You can see him wearing what the kids would these days called joggers. You will see him wear stuff like that. He tries to be, a little bit ahead of the curve when it comes to little details. He also has. Am I allowed to talk about the cyberware that's here? I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, sweet. Yeah. So because of the fact that he used to compete in video games, he actually has cyber audio amplified hearing. So he actually has like this thing that almost looks like a hearing aid on his ear, and that allows him to be able to just hear things a little bit better. So that's like one feature. And then he also has like a shaved head, kind of like what I was supposed to have today, but my wife bailed on me. Hey, mentioned the Bronx and my wife. We're 2 for 2. And then yeah, so that's basically about it. And probably my favorite thing that he carries around with him is his scooter. He has a scooter.
Oh my
That's
goodness.
right. He's got a scooter. He's also like, his build is not he's not like built or anything like that. He's just like a like a normal looking dude, right? Isn't like walking around with muscles, isn't like all flexing and fools and stuff like that. He's just chill, dog. He's like me. He's a lot like me, but he's not me. Just to be clear.
All right, so if he has a background as a esports pro, I imagine that his cyber optics has some sweet RGB, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, he definitely has
cool.
RGB hooked up. Yeah. It was like a thing of the ancient times, but he's bringing RGB back.
Hell yeah.
No, he is.
All right. What does Natalie look like? How does Natalie dress? What's Natalie's hair like? And we're going to get into the life path after that.
Well, how convenient. I am portraying Natalie right now. Natalie wears, really kind of ill-fitting button-down shirts in plain light colors. She's got the stretch office yoga pants that they advertise, at least on my Instagram. And, glasses. She doesn't fix them up too much. They're pretty scratched up and dirty. And she just pulls her hair back in a ponytail. She doesn't spend a lot of time on the face or anything. She's more about, just waking up, getting straight to work, doing her best job. It's just plain.
All right. And Natalie works for Continental Brands. And Continental Brands used to be an offshoot of Petrochem. But during the corporate war, nobody was paying attention to them. And they basically spun themselves off, bought all the gas stations, and then used that to turn themselves into a food distribution company. So they're the boss of Continental Brands is known as the Kibble Queen, because that like nasty, high nutrient, crunchy, sort of vaguely barbecue flavored brown nuggets. Continental Brands is one of the chief distributors of those. So as you can tell, it's an incredibly exciting and rewarding career.
It's an excellent flavor, and we're extremely high in nutrients. I'm proud to be a part of this company, and it is an honor to bring kibble to hungry mouths across the nation. And I'm sure my neighbors are very grateful for the near unlimited supply that I can provide.
Now 50% made of kelp. All right. Let's go back up to the top with Jim Fingers. So, do you know anything about what sort of family you came from, or are we going to find out right now?
I'm perfectly happy to find out right now, honestly.
Okay.
I had some ideas, but I also just really am interested in how this whole system works.
It is a cool system.
Backstories. So I don't want to, limit it in any meaningful way. I'm down for whatever. The idea that I had in my head was kind of not a big Family Guy whatsoever. Like maybe they weren't even around, but see what the heart of the cards pulls out.
Heart of the cards. All right. First roll of the campaign, Josh. Roll 1d10.
Okay. That'll be a 3.
Okay. So your family, they were corporate technicians. They were they had jobs with one of the neo corporations that arose from the old megacorps. They made a decent living, but nothing too fancy. So let me write that down.
I remember now.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, roll another
Didn't
d10.
approve. That'll be a 5.
A 5. Your parents are still alive.
I remember that as well.
Let's see.
It's all coming back.
Let's see how they're doing. Roll 1d10. Now, just before we continue with this, the only dice used in the Cyberpunk system are d10s and d6. And the d10 is the dice that you roll to see what happens. It's the dice you roll for skill checks and attack rolls and all that stuff. And the d6 is pretty much just used for damage. So get used to roll 1d10.
Okay, okay.
Go ahead and do that.
That's a 6.
6. Okay. Your family is in danger and you are at risk of losing everything. Let's find out why.
Oh, man, a lot. Come on.
You're going down the worst path here.
Yeah, I know. This is pretty bad. My family have been hung over my head as, I wasn't even that attached to old Mama and Papa.
I mean, you still don't have to be. Let's roll 1d10.
Oh, okay. That's a 1.
Oh,
you got a natty 1.
All right.
Is that a good or a bad or a not?
Your family lost everything because they were betrayed.
Whoa.
That's all I know at this point. Like, it doesn't have, go to subplot category 52 where the Neocorp does this, and this. All we know so far, and we can fill in the cracks together if you have ideas. All we know so far is that your family lost everything through betrayal. So somebody betrayed your family and they've lost whatever everything means. They've lost it.
Those motherfuckers, Joe.
I know. Those bastards. All right.
They went and got my family. They always take it too far, don't they, Joe? They always take it too far.
There's something should be sacred, but not in this world. All right, one last time. Roll 1d10. Well, not one last time. Roll 1d10 to see what your childhood environment was like in this corporate technician family. What'd you get?
8.
Okay, so your family grew up in one of the arcologies. And an arcology is a building that is designed to, again, it's like a colony inside a building. It's designed to be you could live your whole life in this huge building. Parks and businesses and power plants and homes, everything. Your family was one of the pilot families that lived in the arcologies as they were under construction. So I imagine that that's what your families were like if they were a corporate technician family, that's what they were working on. And these are the structures that are going to revitalize Night City. Because so much of the land is unusable, and people fled to the suburbs and such. So these huge all-in-one structures are going to be the future of Night City, but they're still under construction. They're not done yet. Next, we're going to find out how many parents you have, or not how many parents you have.
How many parents?
Ostensibly 2. The future is enlightened and open-minded, even if it's brutal and corporate. We're going to find out how many siblings you have. Roll it.
6.
I
hope that's the amount of siblings.
You have 6 siblings.
Wait, really?
Yep.
I was rolling a 1d10 for the amount, so I could have had 10 siblings.
No, 8, 9, or 10 is a 0 siblings. So,
right, okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a large family.
This isn't like my Catholic cousins.
Joni Fingers.
James Fingers. Wait, no, you are
Fingers.
James. You'd be James.
Joel Fingers.
We were a bit of an inbred family. We all had lots of fingers.
All right. God. So you're supposed to roll once for every. Okay, just roll 60-10. And we're going to count them off in order, and that's going to determine. All right. So a 5, that is an older sibling. A 7, that is a younger sibling. A 10 is a twin. You have a twin.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Okay. Look, the twin without the bald head. You know, they chose to keep what's left of their hair.
So you have
and
3.
I mock them for it whenever I see them.
You have 3 older siblings, 2 younger siblings, and a twin.
A twin. That is. Oh, that's so wonderful. Who were they betrayed by? That bastard twin.
So you're the good twin? We really are screwed.
I don't know. I'm still producing the backstory here as we go through it.
His name is Steve Fingers, by the way.
Okay, we're going to come back to you. And when we do, we're going to work on your motivation, your personality, who you value most, your most valuable possession, how you feel about most people, stuff like that. But we're going to go ahead and hop over now. We're going to sort of do this one step at a time with each person. Let's go over to Jerax. Jerax. What I know at least one fact about your family. I know you have a brother.
Yes. Yeah. Jerax Ashwater has a brother. And that is one of his primary motivations is to do with his brother. But in terms of family, how much information do you need to know right now?
What sort of upbringing you had? Like, what was the social status of your family?
The only thing that was certain was that he grew up in the United Kingdom.
Okay.
So he grew up in the UK. He has a brother. Those are the only 2 constants. I'm willing to roll the dice for the rest of them.
Let's find out. All right, then let's get started. We're going to do a lot of 1d10 with finding out what sort of the social status of your family was in the UK. What do we got?
7.
A 7. Your family were crime lords.
Yeah.
Well, that explains why you weren't a normal surgeon.
Well, yeah, neglected to mention that in my backstory. You know, okay.
Accept it.
All right. So you do have the option of rejecting anything that comes up. Chat will probably mock you relentlessly.
Oh, no, I'm keeping this.
You have to keep it, dude. You have to keep it.
All right. Let's see how they're doing these days. Roll 1d10.
Whoa.
They are alive.
2.
They are alive.
Oh, they're alive. Okay.
Yeah. But let's see how they're doing. Roll another d10 for this. Family status. 4. Family status is in danger. So Cyberpunk is a pretty gritty game. It's a lot more likely to have a family that's doing poorly than a family that's doing well. Let's roll 1d10 on the family tragedy table.
Uh-oh. That's a 9.
9. Your family is cursed with a hereditary feud that has lasted for generations.
Hell?
Now, what's coming in my brain is that if your family are crime lords, they might have been, from a long line of like an organized crime family, and they probably have rivals of some sort that have dogged them this entire time. We don't know too much more than that yet, but we know that much so far. Roll another d10 to see what your childhood environment was like.
A 5.
A 5. All right, so you grew up in a defended corporate zone in the central city. So you grew up somewhere in the UK where like your family were crime lords, but they had a nice place in the corporate park with private military security protecting them from all of the violence in the world.
Yep.
All right,
that checks out.
Right, that does check out. Roll 1d10 for number of siblings, minimum 1.
Good Lord. 6 again.
We got these big families. Wow.
Jeez.
Okay.
Contraceptives have all stopped working due to the radiation.
Listen, you got to keep the crime lord family going, you know?
Yeah.
But you have lots of kids, and then you let the empire go to the worthy, right? To the most fit,
of course,
to ensure that the family stays strong. Roll first off your brother, who is important to you.
Yeah.
Do you want to decide older, younger, or twin?
Well, let's roll the dice. Well, I mean,
Roll them, you punk ass.
Yeah, let's roll the dice.
Okay.
6d10.
Yeah, and we're gonna have the first D10 be your brother. You have a twin also.
Oh,
Now,
okay.
if you want, the brother could be your twin, just because that seems
let's do the
apropos.
brother to be the twin.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, and we'll talk more about your brother as we go.
Mm-hmm.
All I know is that both of your families, they getting busy.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
Oh well, wait till we get to you, Otto.
Oh, thank you. Way to pronounce the name.
All right, 5 or lower. Oh, there's a step we forgot here. We're gonna have to double track because this can be really fun, actually. Yeah,
Oh,
we're gonna
God.
handle this for you, then we're gonna go back to Jim Fingers to handle that real fast, and then we'll move forward. Okay, so 7 is a younger brother, 2 is an older or sibling. 2 younger, 4 younger, 1 older, and a twin. Okay, this is the part that we forgot about that I did not do for Josh's family, and we're going to have to go back and do it. For each sibling, roll 1d10 to determine what your relationship is like with them.
Oh,
So
so you want
60-10.
60-10.
Yeah, and we're going to do twin, younger, older in that order. So do 6d10.
Okay.
So first
You
off,
want Jim to do it or me? Oh, well, okay.
all right, let me go back to Jim real quick.
Just jumping the gun.
Sorry, I thought we
What a
had already
douche.
decided to go back.
No, that's
all
right.
My
That's all right.
apologies.
Okay, your twin hates you.
Wonderful.
Wow.
So stereotypical. I mean, that works perfectly.
Right?
So
It's-
many anime story arcs can be built off this.
It's all coming together. All right, you had 2 younger siblings. One of them likes you. And the other one with a 7 hero worships you.
Mm.
And then you had 3 older siblings, a 9, a 4, and a 2. On a 9, hates you.
Nice.
A 4 likes you. And a
Must be a
2
douchebag.
dislikes you. So you come from a complicated family, my friend.
That is complicated.
Jerax, why don't you go ahead and roll 6d10? Again, we're gonna start with the twin. Okay,
Oh.
so we got a 1.
A 1.
I nat 10, you nat 1. They got to be the same outcome, right? The twin must want to murder you.
No, actually, he just sort of dislikes you.
Oh, wow.
Fraught. A 6, a 4, and a 6 and a 4. So 6s are neutral and 4s like you. So 2 of your younger siblings are neutral and 2 of them like you. And the last one, your older brother on an 8, hero worships you.
Wow.
And we'll obviously get all this written down and sent to you folks between game sessions so we can start to calculate things.
Oh, I can see the links. I can
Right?
see. I can feel the backstory.
Coalescing, coming together.
Yes.
All right, so we're going to come back to you when we get to motivations. But next up, we're going to hop over to Oro. So, do you have any ideas about your family yet, or do you want to let the dice decide?
I want to let the dice decide a majority of it, but the one thing that I did want to hold on to was the fact that, similarly to myself, brought up in the barrio. ¿Tú sabes? You know what I mean?
No, I don't know what you mean.
Shut up. Kind of like he was raised in what maybe some would describe as the Bronx of Night City, and that's about it. That's
Okay.
as far as it goes. I'm trying to get everyone who's watching like insanely drunk, by the way. That's if you're playing the foreheads drinking game, you're gonna get wasted. You made a big mistake. You're trash. You're gonna be trash. All right.
All right, so we know that much. And if we have a dice roll that disagrees with it, we'll either combine it or we will ignore it. So let's find out what your family background was like. Roll 1d10. So in Roll20, type /r space 1d10.
Oh, /r. Okay. /r space 1d10.
8. Okay, your family was combat zone poor.
Damn, son.
Damn.
Sounds
So-
about right.
So like pick a time period during which the Bronx was just at its like absolute roughest, toughest to live. And that's like
yeah.
and there again, in the urban centers, the combat zones are literally like nobody goes there. You can't get an ambulance to go in there unless it's a trauma team who come heavily armed. Like,
So the Bronx in the 80s. All right.
there we
sweet.
go. There we go. In the 80s. All
All
right.
right.
So,
or 70s. 70s was when it was on fire, I believe.
Mhm.
Yeah, that works.
all right. Let's go ahead and roll 1d10 to see the status of your parents. 6.
Says.
They're both alive. Wow. Everybody has like intact parents so far.
I would like my father's name to be Asfaldo. Okay, and that's as far as I know.
Okay.
All right. Can
And
you...
Maria, Asfaldo and Maria. Okay, there we go.
Mm.
All right. They're alive. Roll 1d10 to see their status. 10.
Ooh.
The parents who raised you in the combat zone are okay. Your family is actually doing all right.
Wow.
All right.
I mean, maybe they're not in the combat zone anymore. Who knows? But they're actually doing all right. So, roll 1d10. We're gonna modify this. Like, I'm gonna apply some GM fiat here to make sure that it matches what we've got so far. But roll 1d10 for childhood environment. 5. Yeah, that doesn't fly. So it says in a defended corporate zone. So unless you have a good idea for why your family was in the combat zone, but you were raised like in the nice bougie part of town, I'm going to ignore that and say you were raised in the heart of the combat zone.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm scrappy, you know. I'm
I'm a little scrappy kid, you know what I'm saying? Going out there, just doing what I need to do, you know.
What is
cutting
that
up
voice?
some food.
Yeah, what is this
You know,
accent?
You know what I mean? Just cutting up some foods, right? Stabbing an old lady, you know, getting some bread,
Jesus.
New
getting
Alex.
some synthetic bread.
What the?
Listen. Sometimes you have to do whatever it takes to procure the grain.
You have to get the bread, you know? If they have a bag, you take it.
Does bread even exist in this world?
Synth bread.
Yeah, it's pre-packed, you know, partially kelp, partially soy based, you know, continental Faco bread, but it's there.
Yo, I
If-
mess with tofu. I mess with the stinko bread, whatever you call it.
if you get your hands on like a real actually baked loaf of bread, wars have been fought over lesser things.
Oof.
It's a luxury
What?
item. Like, yeah, the corporates, like, if you want fresh food, aside from the fact that urban gardening took off after society basically collapsed, fresh food is so rare. Most of the farms, first off, a little bit of backstory, and then we're gonna do siblings, and we're gonna hop over to Seltzer. The fourth corporate war, only one nuke went off, but there's this whole society that lives in the orbital space stations. They're called the High Riders. And they decided during the war that they were sick of both Arasaka and Militech, the two private military contractors that were going at it. They started throwing rocks from orbit on anybody they didn't like. So most of like the agricultural areas of the world either are dust bowls now, or they're used to grow fuel, because most of the fuel used by cars and stuff, it's called chum, and it's basically grain alcohol converted into fuel. So most of the agricultural business is dedicated to that, or, you know, kelp farms and soy in order to create synthetic food.
Hold on, they threw rocks.
Yeah.
Like
From orbit.
rocks.
Yeah, when you drop a rock from orbit, it hits with a decent amount of impact.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's how science works, Brand.
But I figured it would burn up in the atmosphere.
It all depends on
You
the
know?
size of the
Rocks.
rock.
Big rocks.
Yeah. There's also like
He's
Big
so
rocks,
enamored by the
eh?
rocks.
Big rocks, huh? Well, see you later.
Big rocks.
Good night, everybody. All right. Last but not least, let's hash out your siblings, and then we will get on to Natalie. So roll
I'm excited
1d10.
for Natalie. All right, 1d10. Okay.
2. You have 2 siblings.
Tight.
Roll 2d10 to figure out their relative ages.
Okay.
Everybody's twins for everybody. Twins for
Oh
everyone.
my god,
Oh my
that's
God.
absurd.
Wow.
All right, so
Bro, you know what it is? It's the It's the radiation.
It's the radiation.
It got in everyone's balls,
Mhm.
and then it's making twins. That's what it
Yeah.
is. It's the radiation. It's all into semen, and bam, twins come out.
They-
Basil, twins.
They put a chemical in the water that's making everyone have twins.
Yeah,
All right.
I'm telling you.
Now
Is that
we'll-
your content?
Yes.
All right, give me 2d10 for how your
All
siblings feel about you, and then Natalie's up.
They're obviously gonna freaking love me because I'm the best.
Obviously, a 9 and a 5. So one hates you.
Fuck.
It's your twin,
Oh, that's such a
Nice.
classic.
and
Nice,
and
dude,
your
I'll take
younger siblings sort of neutral about you. Whatever,
That's fair. That's,
little bit,
yeah,
right?
that's fair.
right? All right, Natalie, you're up. Do you have
All right.
anything from your backstory in terms of family environment that you want to dictate right now before we start rolling?
No.
Okay,
Ooh.
we'll let fate decide.
Doing it this way is so much better.
This is awesome.
This is honestly one of the things I was excited about for the Cyberpunk game is just this system, because we haven't even moved into the life path. One of you could start out in debt to a mega corporation, or
Wait, this isn't the life path?
this is the start of the life path. We're not even in
Okay.
it yet, dude. We're not
Bro,
even
oh
dude,
my
in
it's
it.
the
God.
start to your life path,
That's
bro.
amazing,
Oh,
dude.
It's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, man. All right.
Want to hop in this life path?
All right, Rachel.
Go for it.
Roll 1d10 to determine your family ranking. 8. Wow, you have clawed your way up from combat zone poor.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
All right. So your family lived in like burned out buildings and near the red zone if they were in Night City, with just surrounded by violence and poverty. Roll 1d10 so we can figure out your parental status. So far, everyone's parents have been alive. 10! Winner!
Whoa.
Something happened to your family.
Oh,
damn,
no.
son, that's not a winner.
I was like, "That's healthy."
All right, roll 1d10 to figure out what happened. 1.
Oh.
They died in warfare.
Oh,
So-
that's brutal.
The combat
Damn.
zone's making sense.
So you
Yeah.
are 26. The Fourth Corporate War, the time frame is right. They probably died in the Fourth Corporate War. They might have
Hell
been
corporate.
Hail Corporate. They might have been blown up in the nuclear attack, but even before the bomb went off, there were tanks in the streets of Night City. It was a whole thing. So they probably died in the Fourth Corporate War, but I leave it up to you if you want something else.
Sounds good.
Okay.
I mean, terrible.
My parents are dead? Great! Okay, so roll 1d10. Find out your childhood environment. 1. Spent on the street with no adult supervision. I mean, that checks out.
Mm.
Damn,
I
I
like-
actually feel really bad for Natalie. Her story is crazy,
Yeah.
dude.
Like,
Oh.
all of you have great families. Your parents are fine, and you're terrible people.
Like the one character that is like normal and just wants to get through the day, but yet everything bad has happened to her. Meanwhile, the three of us assholes have these great existences. The fuck out of here.
I love it. It's like, yes, please, I'm just the nice person who works in the mailroom, and there's that's the crust over this well of
That's a
trauma.
good story, though.
Right?
Ooh.
Right? We got some good stuff going on here. Okay, unless you want to decide, roll 1d10 for siblings.
Oh my
6.
god.
What? They can't have all survived.
Just 6 kids left to roam combat zone.
Dear God, what are you supposed to do with this? Everyone's parents be fucking. That's insane.
At some point, well, if it wasn't for the fact that nobody else's parents are dead, I'm like, that's it. Some of you are siblings. Some of your characters are siblings. Because there's just way too many kids running around at this point. Okay, roll 6d10 to determine age order.
Watch her be a twin. Oh, thank God.
The one person with no twin, bless up. All right, so 5 or lower is older, meaning that you have 1, 2, 3 older siblings. And because that's how math works, 3 younger siblings. Go ahead and roll 6d10 one last time on this section to determine how your siblings feel about you, starting from younger to older. So 2 dislikes you, 8 hero worships you, 3 likes you. And for the older siblings, we got a 4, a 9, and a 2. A 4 likes you, a 9 hates you, and a 2 dislikes you. Okay.
Makes sense. Some of them respect me. Some of them, I guess I'm feeding or like sending maybe envelopes of money to, and the rest too.
They think you sold out to the man.
Yeah, I guess corporate killed their parents. So.
Right. I mean, to be fair,
I want to interject real fast. And Scoot said, "Did any corporation make condoms?"
No, this is the opposite of the Margaret Atwood apocalypse.
But they did not do well.
The radiation just blew holes in it all.
All the condoms have just holes in them. It's crazy.
I think it's a thing where the world is ending and people are just like, screw it. Let's just go. Free love. Let's just
rabbits.
Repopulate the earth.
Exactly. Welcome to the dark future. It's babies, so many babies, 400 babies.
It actually sounds horrible.
That is the darkest future.
I respect that. All right. So that is the end of the family section. The next part is figuring out your personality motivations. And I expect this is a place where you might want to take a little bit more. You are welcome to leave it up to the dice, but some of you may already have ideas, and I don't want to hijack that. The last thing is going to be life events. So next up, we're going to go back down starting with Jim Fingers. So do you have an idea for what his personality is like?
I have a good idea of what he presents his personality like when he's, talking to others and when he's making deals. He's, quite charismatic and he likes to wheel and deal a little bit. But in terms of his raw character, the face that he only presents to himself, I'm willing to let the dice decide.
Okay.
I mean, unless it's something like cripplingly shy, in which case that just doesn't really vibe at all. But
Jim Fingers is an alternate persona he's created for himself, but when he's alone, he's just this terrified, what if they don't like me?
He uses a sock puppet to make all of his deals because he can't talk himself. He has to do it through somebody else.
His name is something completely different. Jim Fingers is the name of the puppet.
Yeah, of course. That would make a lot of sense as well.
All right, then. Roll 1d10 to determine what lies beneath the affect of Jim Fingers.
Okay. It's a 9.
A 9. Intellectual and detached. You're supposed to roleplay in this game, Josh. You're supposed to roleplay as somebody.
Okay.
All right. The person you value most. If you already know, you can tell me. Otherwise, roll.
Nope.
Roll it.
It's a 4.
A friend.
Okay. Or maybe it's one of you lot.
It could be.
Could be.
It could be.
I'll decide later on which of you deserves my most valued friendship.
We'll be holding a competition for one of you can be my best friend.
Oh, Lord.
All right. What do you value most?
What do I value most? Okay. There's the number 8.
Again, power.
Well, you know what? That vibes.
Yeah, that checks out. How do you feel about most people?
6.
6. Every person is a valuable individual.
Okay.
I don't know why I found that funny. It's like, how do you value people? 6.
Every person is a valuable individual. All right. Okay.
Yeah, good luck
You're
making
going to try
that
and
one work.
spin that like everyone is some value to me.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
exactly.
spin
That's what I was thinking. Because otherwise, it doesn't really vibe with what I'm saying, you know.
Yeah.
Because if I'm detached from, then I don't know whether I'd really consider everybody valuable, you know.
I could see you being like everybody actually has unique, abilities and variables to them, and they don't have to immediately be discarded and killed. And if we can find a deal that's mutually beneficial, then that's preferable. But if that's not doable, then we're gonna find the deal that benefits me.
Sure.
Well, someone says in chat, everyone's valuable because they pay rent.
That's absolutely true. Yeah,
Shout out to Benny.
Eat the rich. All right, now your most valued possession.
A 9.
A toy.
A toy. Okay.
Okay.
I leave you to figure that one out. And that is it for this part of the life path. So mull that over while we go back to Jerax. So, Jerax, do you have an idea for what your character's personality is like yet?
No, actually.
Great, roll.
10.
A 10. Personality is friendly and outgoing.
Ah.
Who is the person you value most?
That would be my twin brother who dislikes me.
Family's complicated. Family is very complicated. All right. So that one is, and that's exactly like the time to say, screw the dice. I have my idea. That's the moment to move in. What do you value most?
I don't know. Let's roll the dice. A 6.
Vengeance.
Oh,
Not wrong. Not wrong. That plays in perfectly.
That checks out. How do you feel about most people?
Let's have a look. With dice. 2.
2. Neutral.
Yeah.
And what is your most valued possession?
Rolling. 10.
A letter.
Ooh.
Okay.
The contents
The letter
of
C because it's for cookie.
C is for cookie.
Oh, cookie starts with C. Next up, Oro.
All right.
Do you know much about your personality yet?
Outgoing.
Okay.
Because he makes content and stuff.
Mhm.
Kind of have to be. So I know
makes
that
sense.
that for sure.
All right.
He's got that Latin flair. You know what I mean? He's got that Latin flair. All right.
Oh.
You should know exactly what I'm saying.
Latin flair, outgoing and Latin flair for personality. Who's the person that Oro values most?
Let's roll this some bitch.
My wife
1d10?
Cynthia is not on this chart.
No. No. My roommate was right here, but no, she can't know.
1d10.
1d10. Okay.
And by the way, if you're in the chat window and you press the up arrow, it'll load the last command you sent. So,
sweet.
Yeah, that'll be
know that.
helpful.
Okay.
A 9. The person you value most is a personal hero.
Wow.
Mm.
Okay.
It's me, isn't it?
God, no.
It's somebody he's seen in very, very old TV broadcasts called Golden Boy, who used to be
Fair,
a show in
fair.
the past.
Yeah. I modeled my career after him.
Yeah.
What do you value most?
Roll the dice. 1d10, yeah?
Yeah.
Just double checking.
That's the nice thing about this system. It's almost always 1d10.
Sweet.
You value most love.
Oh, how
Wow.
sweet. Or the love of others, perhaps.
Do I value the love of others or do I value loving others?
You rolled the word love. What that means is up to you, my friend.
Tight.
That's the beauty. You take the prompt and you run with it in whatever direction you'd like to.
Okay, sweet. Okay.
All right. How do you feel about most people?
All right. Sorry. Give me a sec.
No worries. And again, you're always welcome to come up with it yourself. 10. People are wonderful.
Huh.
Damn.
Bit of an optimist, huh?
You can frag that if you want. You can
that's
frag that
good.
if you want.
Yeah. I'll roll with it. I'll roll with it.
All right. And last, what is your most valued possession?
My most valued possession. Oh yeah, I actually want it to be an item.
What do you have in mind?
I was thinking the phone that I make the content with. Like, because everything I have is there. Like how I keep in touch with my family and or my parents and all that stuff.
All right. And I specifically gave you like the most souped up smartphone
I
of the
saw
future.
that, which is the reason why I wanted
Mm.
that to be it. It's like very materialistic.
Your unboxing video for that one got a lot of hits on the local data pool. So
Yeah.
all right.
How
cool.
I got it though, we'll find out.
All right. Natalie, you are up. What do you already know about your character's personality?
What we know about her is, I mean, for people interacting with her, she probably seems like kind of a pushover, kind of a yes gal. Just really like background.
Wallflower.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to leave that written under her personality, or do you want to roll for like an under the surface thing? Your call.
Yeah, let's do the dice.
All right.
Ooh.
Roll it. 8.
Sweet.
Sneaky and deceptive.
Ooh. That's
Sneaking
gonna be me the whole time.
Hey, chaos is a ladder, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. Next. Who's the person you value most?
7.
A 7. A teacher or mentor?
Oh, that makes sense.
Do you already have a concept for that? You don't have to. A lot of this, I feel like people are going to go home, they're going to mull over, and they're going to be like, okay, I think I know who this is, and I think I know who that is, and we're going to explore it as we go.
Yeah, actually, I know exactly who this teacher is because I managed to pull myself up by bootstraps enough to get myself to the local community college. And there, I was inspired by a woman who had it all. She was just a housewife. She was pregnant. She was beautiful. She was teaching a class. She had a career. She showed pictures of this tiny rooftop garden that she was taking care of. And I thought, that's the life I want. And that's what I'm gonna work hard at this corporate for.
Nice.
So I could do whatever it is that I think that lady did.
I like it. I like it.
Mm.
Promise not to turn that back around on you in some horrible fashion.
Oh, please do. I have no personal real life attachment to that fantasy.
I mean, the tagline of the show is Cyberpunk Conspiracy. I just want to throw that out there. All right. What does Natalie value most?
I don't know. Let's find out. 9.
A 9. Having a good time. Having a good time.
Yeah, in the grander sense of securing a good time for oneself.
Mhm.
And as much as you can guarantee it in Cyberpunk 2044 Conspiracy.
All right, so like the long format, having a good time, having a good life, having the finer things in life, the rooftop garden, having it all, that sort of thing.
We are investing in a paycheck. We are not waiting to win the lottery here.
I like it. How do you feel about most people?
Well, 9.
A 9?
Another 9?
9.
Wipe them all out and give the place to the cockroaches.
I'm sorry, I missed what the demon said there on account of it was a demon.
Wipe them all out and give the place to the cockroaches.
Wow.
Okay, that got dark.
Listen, I want you to know a lot of my future fantasy based on my projections on this one teacher I had and this one book cover I found ripped off that showed a beautiful sweeping green plain and a tiny cottage. And I thought, there's no way I could have that life with all these people about. And so in my quietest moments, I do dream of a smaller world, and that is the love for those who remain.
Yo, she a killer, dog? Are you gonna kill me? That's crazy.
Look, if you want the white picket fence, sometimes you have to break a few eggs, nuke a few populations. It
Oh my
doesn't happen on its own.
Oh my word.
Okay.
If you're fucking anyway, go on. It's insane.
So, we are now reaching the life path. And this is where we're going to find out what happened in your backstories so far. And each of you basically has 2 cards, right? Two tokens, 2 shots, whatever you want to call it. Each of you, we're going to go through person by person and determine some of the events that happened in your backstories. Each of you has 2 chances to say, I was there when that happened. And you can invoke that at any time. You just got to speak up. We're going to do one event at a time, and we're going to circle around, again, going from oldest to youngest. So let's go ahead and spin the wheel. Jim Fingers.
Yes.
Roll. We're going to do 12 events for you because, again, the game normally, like, you know, young, cool, hip characters up to age 28. It doesn't go above that. So we're going to cap it out at 12 events. And I think everyone except Natalie is older than that. So everyone's going to have 12 events except for Natalie, who's going to have something happen every single year after you turned 17. So let's get started. For your first event, roll 1d10 to find out what happened.
So this is me rolling 1d10 to find out what happened when I was 18.
No.
Are we doing it year by year, or it's just
So if you were 28 or younger, it was going to be year by year. But I'm not going to roll like your age minus 16 times. That's a lot.
Sure. Yeah,
So we're capping it out at 12. This happened in a year, but these are in chronological order in your life.
So this is early years. It doesn't necessarily have to be when I was 18, but it's early 20s at the absolute latest.
10. Nothing happened that year. Next.
Oh, nice.
All right.
That might be a
Jerax.
good thing.
There's good and bad, and given the kind of game that Cyberpunk is, there's a lot of bad on these charts. Let me just tell you. Jerax, roll 1d10 to find out what happened that year.
4.
4. Friends and enemies.
Friends and enemies.
Roll 1d10.
10.
You made an enemy.
Huh.
Could have been someone you botched surgery on.
Let's find out who it was. It could be.
Yeah.
Roll 1d10 to find out who it was.
1.
A former friend.
Oh.
Oh yeah, he probably left him with like a limp.
Well, let's find
like a
out.
stub.
Why is there animosity? Roll 1d10.
10.
10. Somebody foiled somebody else's plan. Who? Roll 1d10.
1.
They hate you because you foiled their plans.
Oh.
You foiled the plans of a friend.
Of a friend.
Now, what would probably happen if you ran into each other? Roll 1d10.
8.
8. Ignore the scum. So it's seems like one of those, social snubbing things. And if they happened to want to hurt you, what sort of resources could they apply against you? Roll 1d10.
10.
An entire government agency.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay. Well, thanks.
Explain why I'm hiding in the Red Sky City.
Yeah, this is probably something that happened over, across the pond, and it motivated you to GTFO. Thanks for playing. Next up,
Cool.
Oro, your first event on the life path. Roll 1d10. What do we get?
5.
Friends and enemies. Roll 1d10 to find out which.
4.
A 4. You made a friend.
'Cause I'm awesome and everyone's amazing, and that's it.
What kind of friendship is it? Roll 1d10.
Oh, this is interesting.
3. A teacher
3.
/ mentor.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Okay, I think I could fit this in.
And that's all we know so far. That's the end of that life path event. So at some point early in your life, You made a friend. They were either a teacher to you, a mentor to you, or vice versa. All right. And now we're going to start Natalie on the life path. So this would be the year you turned 17.
Got it.
So roll 1d10. Go ahead and narrate that, just in case folks are listening.
Oh yeah, sorry. For anyone listening at home, I've rolled a 2.
Perfect. A 2 on the life path. That is, I think it's, big problems, big wins. Roll 1d10 to figure out which.
Man, Natalie murdered someone.
I rolled a 10.
Ooh. You got lucky. Something good happened. Roll 1d10.
Yeah, she murdered somebody. That's what happened.
That's not good.
You found a martial arts teacher.
She killed someone with fucking karate.
So you're gonna gain a martial arts skill that starts at +2.
What? That's pretty good.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
This is one of the cool things about the life path. It's not just backstory stuff. It can give you money or skills or reduce your stats. All sorts of stuff can happen.
I did not picture Rachel's character as a deceitful person whose parents were slayed by the corporates who does kung fu and wants everyone to die.
I'm gonna be honest.
Karate.
It was probably
That's
a self-defense class,
I'm gonna
right?
say it wasn't karate and it wasn't kung fu. It was Krav Maga, and it was very much about self-defense, which is what gave me the confidence ultimately to accept this listing in Jimmy Fingers' building.
You don't go there unless you have some Krav Maga under your belt, am I right? All right. Well, I love that we went through all this and we started out with Josh just getting absolutely nothing happened.
Right.
All right. Let's do your second life event. Back to you, Josh. Roll 1d10.
Okie dokie. It's an 8.
An 8. Romantic involvement.
Okay.
Ooh,
All right.
Jimmy.
I don't go by Jimmy. That's the name of an internet magician, as I realized when I Googled the name that I had made up.
Jimmy Fingers.
Yeah.
All right. Well, how did your romantic involvement go? Roll 1d10.
Well, I'm not. I don't have much optimism here, Joe.
What do you get?
It was a 6.
A love affair with problems.
I thought so.
There were problems.
I want to interject.
Let's go. Let's go. Oro interjects.
Wait, you were my love affair?
Oh, yes. Couldn't stop staring at you.
Is that actually what you?
No. I want to be involved in whatever.
I was going to say
affair.
that might be tricky to role play the more we get into it. But...
All right, Alex. Do you want us to keep rolling through this to see how it went down and then figure out how you're involved, or do you have an idea already?
So where are we at right now? That it was a love event and that, or a romantic affair or whatever, and that it had problems.
The relationship had
This is
problems.
when I was pretty young as well. How much older is my character than yours? If I'm 34, I'm like 6 years older?
5 years older. So this is
okay. So this is when you're in your like late teens max as well.
Here's the thing: you could stack all of your life events at the end of your life. You sort of have this wiggle room. So we'll make the timeline work one way or another.
Okay.
Oh no! I want this to be like some teacher, like one of those love affairs. You know what I mean? I want this to be messed up. Where like I'm the young kid involved in this whole. Yeah, no. Let's really get dark here. You tell me Cyberpunk's dark. Let's make it dark.
Welcome to the dark future.
There it is.
The highly problematic future.
There it is.
Let's roll 1d10 before we go any further to see what's up. What'd you get?
It was a 2.
A 2. Okay, well, Oro, here's your chance. Your lover's family/friends would use any means to get rid of you.
I would use any means to get rid of him.
Well, here's the thing. All we know is he was in a love affair of some kind. It had problems. Those problems were whoever his love interest was, that person's family and friends would do whatever it took to get rid of Josh's character. So we know you're involved somehow. Is it one of your siblings? Is it one of your cousins? Is it a friend of yours? Were you one of the people in the family that was trying to get rid of Josh? There's a lot
Well,
of possibilities here.
They leaked some stuff to you, and you made a video about it, exposing me.
Huh. Do I have to think about this now? Do I have to settle on this now?
You don't have to figure this out just yet.
Okay.
You don't have to figure this out.
I want to let it go.
Okay.
I want to see what happens.
So let's see how the two of you still feel about each other. Josh, roll 1d10.
It is a 2. Another 2.
You still love them.
Mm.
They're the one who got away.
But nothing about how they feel about me.
Correct. That's up in the air.
I'm just unaware after their family drove me away.
Mm-hmm. All right. So, Oro, if you have an idea, you can go ahead and do it now, or we can hash it out later. All we know is that you are somehow involved in this.
Huh. Let's hash it out later.
Okay. I've marked that down. I'm thinking there's some sort of family connection, though. I'm thinking there's some sort of family or friend connection. That seems the logical thing, but we'll figure it out if it occurs to you during the stream. Just ooh, put your hand up. Let me know. Otherwise,
oh wait, my siblings. What are their ages?
Let's see. Oro, you have a twin and a younger sibling. So
wow, so they would be young.
Yes,
that definitely would work.
And for the purposes of this stream, they were at least 18.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I think I've thought of something.
What do you got?
That I wasn't involved in the relationship with the person that he was involved in, but I knew them through like a, like a friend of a friend, right? Like one of those things.
They're in your social circles.
And
why have you got that little smile on your face?
I didn't trust him. I was like, because I didn't know. I just knew of this person, but because I saw them and I didn't like the way they looked, and I didn't trust them. And then
you didn't trust Jim, or you didn't trust Jim's love interest?
I didn't trust Jim.
That checks out, actually. That's fairly logical. Okay, so you were part of the social fallout of this whole thing that went down, where they couldn't be together because family and friends drove them apart somehow. So you were one of the people who was, even if you weren't directly in there, you were one, when you've got all your friends, you're like, what should I do? And all your friends are chiming in. You're one of the people who was saying, girl, I do not trust this guy. You can do better.
Girl.
He's going to get you into trouble. All that stuff.
Swine.
I think then it makes logical sense for me many, many years later to offer Oro a position in my apartment building as an attempt to get back in touch via social circles with this woman that I am still in love with. Because otherwise, why would I offer you a place in the building if you were part of the people that drove me away?
I was initially going to go with that. Like, I didn't know who you were and you didn't know who I was.
Right.
But I actually
I'm down
like this
to wheedle my way back in,
I'm down. Yes, I like this way better. Yeah,
that's good.
Every poker session, I'm subtly dropping questions about.
Do
you remember? You remember Jennifer, right?
You remember Jim? I mean, you remember Jennifer?
I remember Jim.
Awesome.
He was also named Jim.
We're gonna finish this pass through the life path for one event for each of you. Then we're gonna take a 3-minute break. So that was Jim Fingers, and Oro has used one of his interventions. Jerax, you're up next. Roll 1d10 to figure out what happened.
2.
Big problems, big wins. Roll 1d10 to find out which.
9.
Problems. Disaster strikes. Roll 1d10.
1.
Financial loss / debt. So, on your character sheet, do you have any money right now?
Yep.
Not anymore.
How much have you got?
$17.
You've got 17? Oh. Okay, well, roll 1d10.
6.
You have a 600 eddies euro-dollar debt. -7.
$600 debt?
Yeah. I mean, you can have those $17, but you owe somebody 600.
What? Who?
I don't know yet. Do you have any ideas?
Oh, I thought the dice would tell me.
No. All we know is that you suffered a financial loss to the tune of 600. You owe somebody.
Maybe
Josh.
I mean,
No,
I'm
maybe-
thinking about jumping in here.
Do it, Josh.
Do it, Josh. Do
What
it, Josh.
ideas have you got, Bren? Because
My
your
idea
landlord's
was-
looking tight this month.
from the first event
Mhm.
where I have a falling out with a friend where I foiled their plans and
Mhm.
they now hate me, but not so much so that if we saw each other we'd ignore each other, but they have the power to send a government army after me.
Mhm.
I'm thinking that when that took place, probably had to pay a couple of dodgy dealers to smuggle me into the Red Sky City,
Mhm.
and that's where this debt has come from.
Okay. So you owe somebody 600 for smuggling you out of the UK to safety.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And Jim Fingers restrained himself from jumping in on that.
Yeah.
So-
I
you
was
just wanted the
close.
$600 from me, didn't you?
I mean, I don't think that you would have ever paid up, honestly.
Absolutely not.
All right. Next up, Oro. Round 2. Roll
Ooh.
1d10. This is your life.
9.
9. Nothing happened that year.
Oh,
Tight.
Huh.
Is everything's wonderful and everything is awesome. That's me. I'm that guy.
All right. Natalie Smiff. At the age of 18, roll 1d10.
3.
3. Big problems, big wins. Roll 1d10 to find out which. 5. Not so lucky this year. You've got problems. Disaster strikes. Roll 1d10 to find out what.
1.
Yeah, congratulations. You too are in financial trouble. Roll 1d10.
Excellent.
And you have the lowest income of anybody on this team right now because your career is not off to. Oh, well.
I'm sure 1 is good in this context.
Yes, you owe 100. If you have
Oh,
100,
okay.
which you
Oh, that's
might,
good.
Look at that.
you could pay that now if you already have it, or you can just, have that hanging over your head from someone.
Do it, Josh. Do it. Jump in.
Let me see.
I'm gonna resist the urge to just grab all of these debts early on in the game. I feel like
and-
there's more meaningful ways to know somebody than just you owe me money.
and I'm
Is
pretty.
there
Go ahead.
just for context of like the valuation of a book here, like what would rent be per month? Or is that kind of a different answer for each of us?
Well, I can tell you what rent would normally be. Rent in apartment condo. Rent is wow. Yeah, you can tell that this, because I'm using the old edition for all the inventory stuff, and you can tell that time has marched on. Rent would be $600 a month.
Dollars?
Yeah, because you're in the combat zone. If you were in like not the combat zone, it would be $1,200.
Listen, I'm in the combat zone in LA and it's still like
Ain't it true? All right, so you're gonna start with a debt, and I think that your character has some money, and I forgot to add it to your character sheet. It's like 100 and something, maybe on a good day. So we'll just add that debt for now, and when we actually start playing, you'll be able to decide if you want to pay that off or have that hanging over your head. All right.
Okay.
So
yes.
we've done family backgrounds, we've done motivation, we've done personal appearances and such, and we have done 2 passes through the life path. We're going to go up to 12 passes tonight, but we're going to go ahead and cut to a short break. And when we come back, we'll get right back to it. So don't go anywhere.
Mm.